What's not going to change? Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I've got a quote that I've used multiple times before. It's been a while since I've brought it up on here, so I wanted to bring it up again because it's one of my all-time favorite business quotes. And it's one of my favorites because of the simplicity in it. And it speaks to such a direct truth about business. And so often we get pulled away from it or temporarily forget about it. So I have a friend who introduced me to a new business model, if you will, and was showing me all these great things. It has to do with technology. It has to do with a whole bunch of spaces that I actually am pretty interested in. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed looking at it, and I'm going to research it further because I really do enjoy technology and the future and where things are going. The one thing I noticed about the whole thing, though, is that it was revolutionary on many levels to the point to where if it does break out and become something huge, it will be so far against the grain that to acknowledge it as just a stupid, simple thing to get involved in is just, it's not. It's one of these things that requires a million things to go in a completely different direction than where they have gone. And that is really exciting for someone that has a rebellious attitude and wants to see things go in a good direction and everything else. And I am certainly categorize myself as that type of person. I love when things flip over on their head and go crazy in a completely unpredictable manner. The funny thing about business, though, is quite often the biggest plays in business are in areas that are not exciting. You could see this honestly by looking at the largest billionaires out there and the businesses that they ran. Okay, across the board, these are relatively unexciting businesses. Okay, Jeff Bezos, who created Amazon.com, this was an online bookstore. Other than the fact that it was online, it's not that exciting. It's a bookstore. That's what it was. It started that way, and then it expanded out into other things, but it was a bookstore, okay? Nothing too outrageous about that. Walmart, it's everyday stuff. It really has never sold anything all that brand new, and it wasn't their fault if they did. But it's not exciting. There are distribution models that they messed around with behind the scenes that made them exciting and made them grow, and being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That's what happened, but it wasn't because they were exciting. It wasn't because they were absolutely outrageously revolutionary. In fact, Walmart was basing its model off of other people that had already done the same thing. They just scaled it faster. Amazon.com, he wasn't the only online bookstore. He just scaled it up a little faster and was able to get further enough to where he could start selling more than just books and pretty much eventually selling everything. Warren Buffett, I mean, the list goes on and on. The people who make a lot of money consistently, it isn't because they invest in things that are outrageous and wild and exciting. It's most of the time they're investing in things that are just boring and predictable. It's just you can see where things are going. You can see the trends. So here's the quote. Here's that quote that I really like from Jeff Bezos from years back. He said, "I frequently get the question, what's going to change in the next 10 years? And that is a very interesting question. It's a very common one. I almost never get the question, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? And I submit to you that the second question is actually the more important of the two, because you can build a business strategy around the things that are stable in time. Now he goes on and on. It's from an interview, and so the quote goes on and on. But just that idea, the things that are stable in time, principles. Principles is what we're talking about. If you've got principles behind your company, it may grow slower. It may not have a lot of excitement tied to it, but it's predictable. It's relatively predictable. There's always things that can happen that you couldn't have predicted. There's always twists and turns. That's part of having any type of business. You're always going to have people that stab you in the back. You're always going to have, management change, everything. These things happen. That's going to happen. But as far as business models go, I personally am more excited about those that are less exciting. And I still have interest in the things that are a gamble, but I place them in the area of being a gamble, and I'm not going to invest a whole lot of passion and time into them. I have interest. I'll put some money over there, but it's money that I can afford to lose. I'm not going to go out of my way to grow anything that is absolutely brand new. I have no need to be the pioneer in that sense. I like the things that are predictable, that make sense, that are built on principles. And I suggest that you do the same if you're investing in any type of business. So the businesses I look to invest in, that's what, for the most part, what I look for. So that's just a little side note, but the idea of looking for principles is something you always have to keep in mind. And even in strategizing, I stick to principle-based strategies. That's what I wrote my book all about, 9 ways to Amazon-proof your business. So if you want to if you want to keep from being eaten up by Jeff Bezos and Amazon.com, you'll want to read this book, 9 ways to Amazon-proof your business, how to keep it to where you have no competition whatsoever. You can get a free copy at AmazonProofBook.com or buy it wherever books are sold, including Amazon.com. So we'll be back here tomorrow night. You have a great one. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.